Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. Today I'm going to talk about something that Raven-Symoné said during an interview with Oprah Winfrey. During her interview, she said that she's not an African American and that she's an American. And there's been a lot of controversy online about this whole topic. And I just wanted to share some of my thoughts about this issue. And the funny thing is, recently I've had a couple of debates on YouTube dealing with the same question, but from a different angle. And the question was about African Americans and our identity. You had one African American YouTuber say that he's not from Africa, that we are not from Africa, and that he's not an African, that he's a Native American, basically. And you had another YouTuber do a series of videos titled I Am an African. And you had a couple of response videos back and forth. And you've had different comments. You have one YouTuber that I respect actually saying, well, we're not from America and we're not from Africa. We're from Israel. So there was this has been an ongoing debate. And if you just do a search on YouTube, you'll see plenty of videos of people dealing with this issue. Some people saying that they're not African American. Some people saying that they are African American. And this is like part of what's going on in our community. We as a people have been stripped of our identity. And this is why, even at this late date, you have so many people that are struggling with this question of identity, struggling with the idea of who are we as a people? Where do we come from? Because a great part of our culture was stolen from us. Many of us don't know which group we came from, which ethnic group we come from. And many of us have, in our psyche, we have been so programmed to hate being African, so programmed that we would rather be anything but African. Anything but African. We would rather say that we're Hebrews, that we're Asiatic, that we're Native American, that we're Moorish, that we're aliens. You wouldn't believe the kinds of things that we would rather be than African. That's because we have been fed a diet of Tarzan, of Little Black Sambo. We've been programmed with negative images of African people. Now, they don't play Tarzan movies like they did when I was a kid or when my parents were growing up. But what they do play on the news are negative, constant stories about Africa. We're told about poverty in Africa. We're told about famine in Africa. We're told about disease in Africa. We're told about underdevelopment in Africa. We're fed this negative image of African people constantly. We see the images of the starving children with the bellies bulging out and the flies hovering around their heads. So we've been programmed to hate being African. We're not taught about our greatness as a people in history classes. We're not taught about the great contributions of African people. So obviously, it's no wonder that many of us hate being African. Many of us want to forget who we are. Many of us have forgotten who we are. And we are willing to embrace any and everything other than African. The fact of the matter is, most of us are descendants from Africa. Most of us, our ancestors were dragged, stripped, and kidnapped from their motherland of Africa and brought in slave ships to America. That's how most of us got here. Now, people that are from the Caribbean or from other places in the Americas who are of African descent, even they were enslaved at one point, enslaved in Jamaica, enslaved in Haiti, enslaved in South America. They were enslaved. We are a scattered and dispersed people as a result of that legacy of slavery and colonialism. So the bottom line is we come from Africa. We are descendants of Africa. And no matter how much we try to shake that identity, it is in our DNA. It is who we are. It is in our music. It is in our food. It is in our dance. It is in our customs. It is even in our religions. Even those who've embraced Christianity, they still have a lot of customs or a lot of mannerisms that can be traced to the motherland. Our food can be traced to the motherland. Africa is in us. Africa is in our hair, the kink of our hair. It's in the wideness of our noses and our lips. It is in the brownness or darkness in our skin. Africa is beating in our heart and running through our veins. That is who we are as a people. And we can't shake that identity no matter what we try to do. But I think that part of the problem is we have developed Stockholm Syndrome. We are, for all intents and purposes, prisoners of war. This is not our native land. We didn't come from here. We were kidnapped and brought to a foreign land by a foreign people. And we've been in this foreign land for so long that we have embraced it. We have embraced our prison and we have adopted it as our home. We have embraced our captors and adopted them as our friends and family when they are in fact our oppressors. But that's the mentality of the oppressed. The oppressed often embrace their oppressor, much like an abused woman embraces her abuser. Now, in Hollywood, I mean, a lot of times these people become so successful that they want to be raceless. They don't want to be identified with black people because with blackness comes struggle. They want to run away from who they are and pretend to be something else. Pretend to be something else. You can't run from your identity. You can call yourself whatever you want to call yourself, but at the end of the day, everyone still sees you as black. Everyone still sees you as African American. And there's no escaping that reality. We suffer from what Du Bois called a dual consciousness or double consciousness. Part of us is African and part of us is American. And we're unable to really negate either one, no matter what we try to do.